All right, welcome to the 24th Annual Hampton Roads Youth Foundation All-Star Weekend virtual. And we're here, Carl Francis and myself, with a very, very special partner of ours who's been with us for a long time with this camp weekend, Coach Mike Tomlin. Man, we're doing it different this year, Coach. It's a little different from what we've been doing for the last 24 years when we were in the chat session after we, get it in on the field with a lot of the youth from the area. And, we normally wrap things up with a chat session, but, we're a little virtual this year.
Yeah, man, it's called pivoting, man. And the young people are probably better at it than us, but we all adjusted over the last several months, man. And, man, I'm excited about joining in any capacity, man. However we can keep this train rolling and keep touching people from the house, I'm excited about it.
Definitely. Well, Coach, I am going to say this, man. We've been doing this camp for a long time, and obviously, man, you've been a tremendous partner of ours. But we really want to take this on a little journey, and just in terms of knowing more about you as a person. Because one of the things I remember is when you first got the job, you were so gracious to come and be our guest at a dinner that we had at the Hampton Roads Convention Center.
Well, the Hampton Roads Youth Foundation is having their annual football clinic this weekend, and here to help, Mike Tomlin, the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He'll join me live as Wavy News 10 at 6 continues.
And a part of that speech that you gave was how people didn't know that part of your roots were developed in Pine Chapel. And you were like, look, I'm standing on a place where I used to live. So you got to understand where I come from. And I didn't know that. So I want you to kind of take us on a journey of your space from when you started in terms of elementary, where you went to middle school, high school, because we want the kids in the 757 to kind of follow your journey on all the way through William and Mary. Like, talk to us about your process.
Yeah, man. My story isn't unlike a lot of 757 stories, man. I'm a product of a broken home. My parents separated, man, before my first birthday, and myself and my brother, my mother, we moved back in with her parents, and that was in the Bethel area of the 757, man, off of Big Bethel Road, Lassiter Drive, in that area, and that's where I spent the first 5 or 6 years of my life, man, right there in that community. My brother went to Mallory Elementary, man. I went to Mallory Elementary for a couple of years. And then, my mother, in an effort to, gain her independence and really get an opportunity to raise us, man, because I was a grandmother's boy. When I had disagreements with my mom, I told her mother, you know what I mean? So it was during that time, man, that we moved out, and my mother was working at the shipyard, man, and we moved from, apartment complex to apartment complex, in search of a better life. And you know how it is, man. My mom was raising 2 knucklehead boys, man. So, we found things to get into, so we didn't usually stay anywhere long. Glen Gardens. We lived in Glen Gardens for a minute, if you remember old Glen Gardens.
Yeah.
Sweetbriar and Brittany, remember that over there off of Briarfield Road?
What do I? I didn't know you stayed over there. Wow.
Okay. Hey, and so, my brother was a complete knucklehead. So my mom said, I'm moving to Denby to get you completely out of your element. And
big shout out to Ed.
That's right. Ed.
Thanks to Big Bro. That's really in 1980, man. That's why we moved to Denby, in an effort for my mom to, like a lot of parents, man, she was working her tail off to create a better life for us. And, we weren't helping her in the ways that we could have, and so she relocated us, man, and we went to Denby. And initially, obviously, we didn't like it, man, because it wasn't in the mix for us. It wasn't in our familiar territory and so forth. But over time, man, we had great relationships up there. We really gained the respect and appreciation for the sacrifice that she made, because it wasn't like she was making her journey more convenient on a daily basis to get to work. She moved 25, 30 minutes away from work, in an effort to provide what was best for us. So that was life for me growing up, man. And, you know, at a very early age, man, I was a Boys and Girls Club guy. At that time, it was just the boys club, right? Went to the one downtown there off of Jefferson, man. That's the church now. What was that, like Byfield Road?
Yeah, I know that one. I was there. Yep.
I was a boys club kid because the summer membership was $2, you know?
Got that little gray membership card and go get a hot dog.
Membership card. Absolutely.
I know.
It was $2.
$2.
And that was much better than daycare and all of that stuff, man. It went down at the boys club for us.
Yeah.
And man, we just grew up, man, playing sports, man, and like a lot of kids from the peninsula at that time, man, we had aspirations of something better, man, and we realized that maybe athletics might be a vehicle for us. And so really at a relatively young age, man, you know, I started playing football at 7 and kind of went on from there, man. I've been on a team every day of my life since then, playing or coaching. Still riding that pony.
Yeah. Well, you know, and also, you know, your journey, man, is, and I'm saying this out of true sincerity, man, is very inspiring. And I know we all in a, you know, a cool place in terms of me, you, and Vernon. But really, man, I mean, what you've been able to accomplish is something beyond normal of anybody could think about, man. And the way you carry it is kind of a testament to who you are as a person. And I do attribute it, honestly, you know, to Mom and everything and your family. But also I do, you know, attribute it to being from the 7-5, because there's this humbleness about us that we carry amongst each other that, you know, success is part of who we are, but is not what we are or who we are. You know what I mean? And for you to be at this level, man, and be as humble, you definitely are carrying the back of 7 cities, man, wherever you go. And, you know, talk about, do you feel that when you go places, do you feel that weight, the pride of right whenever you go to the country, you coach your people?
You know, Carl, for me, it's interesting, like being from where we're from, you know, our sports stars are accessible because we don't have professional sports teams. Right. When you grow up where we grew up from, you grow up looking up to high school athletes and dudes that just left. And so, like, they're accessible to you. And so you see them at the mall. You know what I mean? And so I never even kind of looked at it that way. I'll never forget, like, I saw DJ Dozier at the mall, you know, at the Coliseum Mall one time. And like, I was like, man, that's DJ Dozier. You know what I mean? Yeah. Dude, and I ain't talking about Penn State DJ Dozier. I'm talking about Kingsville DJ Dozier. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, man, like we going to the gym because J.R. Reed playing that night. You know what I mean? Like, and so there's an accessibility there that, you know, you don't grow up thinking about like you're in a bubble or you just, you know, and so making it for me was not this deal that, you know, made you unaccessible. It was just about, you know, being able to share the love, man, with your people and being able to move around and do the same things you always do and get that love, man. And so I don't know that I've ever even viewed it that way. I know there's a warmth when I'm at home, and there's a comfort and ease when I'm on them familiar streets, you know, and I'm not guarded in any way, and that's a cool feeling that I never experienced when I'm away from there. And because when I'm not there, I'm on. I'm Coach Tomlin when I'm not at home. Right. But when I'm in that part of Virginia, man, people know and love me for so many different reasons beyond this job that I hold. You know, the relationships run so much deeper. It's a cool thing.
Please welcome From Denby High School in Newport News, Hampton Roads' own, the head football coach of the world champion Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin.
What's up, Steeler Nation? I absolutely love you guys. Steeler Nation. You know, I need that inspiration every now and then, man. That's why I always fight to come back there to spend time there, man. I was just home last weekend, man. Was down on 29th and Jefferson, man. Got me a box of yacht, you know. Dude, looking at Brooks Crossing, right? Because I don't get home often.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, what a blessing, man. I'm looking at Brooks Crossing. And I know what Brooks Crossing is, right?
Right.
That's that football life right there. I'm looking at it. And I'm looking at somebody live it to the fullest, man, and contribute back to our home. Those are the things that warm me, man. And that's the reason why, you know, I am who I am. And that's why I always get back there and give back there because, man, it's a special place.
You know, when you talk about that comfort in your path and journey, you share something with during a chat session years ago that a lot of people, I hear a lot of people, especially when you talk about home, like it was, to me, very powerful. I mean, a number of things you talked about, but because of that love for football and that aspiration that a lot of the student athletes have from the area, don't have an opportunity. They're not going to make it to play on Sundays. And you said something, and I don't know if this is exact, I'm paraphrasing, but you said,
for every man from this area that sits up on this stage, there's 10 to 15 of them that don't sit up on this stage, that play ball with them, that went to school for free and got a free education because they love and respected and did what they had to do in regards to the game of football. You guys understand me? Yeah. Never stood on this stage. Wanted to real bad. I'm a miserable failure. So I just get to coach the Steelers because I wasn't good enough to play. That's the reality of it. Look, I got a Super Bowl ring. Hey, give me a minute. Look, I never wear this thing because when you get one, it's about in here and in here. It's about the memories.
You are a miserable failure at trying to play the game or trying to get on the field. And you ended up in coaching. Like, could you talk about that? Like, how did you breathe and living, you're a captain, William and Mary, like this was your goal, but you had to pivot. And a lot of the kids that are out here are dealing with some type of failure or rejection and having to deal with, I think, not necessarily meeting their goals. And I think you talking about that a little bit might help put some thoughts in their mind in terms of their career aspirations and goals.
You know, it's funny. Oftentimes you don't realize your blessings until you look back at them, you know. I had big-time football playing aspirations. And, you know, so for a lot of my playing years, man, I was miserable because it wasn't unfolding in the ways in which I envisioned it. You know, my big brother was an ACC football player. And so I had an ACC football player that slept 2 feet away from me in the other twin bed, you know? And so, you know, for me, even signing with William and Mary was a disappointment for me, you know? And my mom wanted to hit me in the head with a brick, you know? She's trying to figure out what is wrong with me, man. I got free school at an awesome institution like that, but I'm mad because, man, I wanted to go to Duke. I wanted to play at Duke. You know what I mean? And really, you could take a snapshot, and that was kind of my attitude for a lot of, you know, what transpired with me, man. I went on and had a really good experience there. Was a captain and so forth, and won a lot of games, man. But just really wanted to play professional football. Thought I was capable of playing professional football, and you know, felt like I got slighted in some way because I didn't. And really, in pursuit of playing aspirations, all along, I didn't realize that I was sharpening my sword for coaching, because I really, you know, I was really passionate about the game and playing to win and leading. And, and really getting into the schematics of it, not only from inside a helmet perspective, but just globally. Because, you know, when you're a wide receiver, man, a lot of people got to do their jobs in an effort for you to do your job.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I would never take anybody's word for it, man. So I had to gain some global understanding of why I wasn't getting the ball enough.
I've never heard a wide receiver explain it that way. I like that.
Hey, that's why to this day I have so much patience for those that play the position, because guilty as charged. It is, but you know, in the midst of it all, man, even in getting my first coaching opportunity at VMI, you know, I viewed it as a temporary thing in an effort to stay close to the game and be in an environment where I could work out while I was getting ready for the next cycle in an effort to pursue professional football. Coaching was really patient with me in my youth, you know, because, you know, I wasn't committed to the profession, but the profession was committed to me. I was given opportunities. I had some aptitude in that area that I was probably not aware of or chose not to be aware of. But, man, people poured into me, man, and saw me through that, and I'm thankful for
it. You know, and one of the things I've noticed and taking a step back and watching your career, just in terms of your playing days, watching you conduct yourself just as the head coach of the Steelers, that thing people take for granted that, you know, your childhood and upbringing and football all culminated also with the great aptitude for academics. Because, and I noticed that about you, just the way you talk, the way the mannerism, how you can turn it on, turn it off. But more importantly, when I look at the background of going to, everybody ain't going to women Maryland. Everybody ain't walking in those doors. Talk to us about, you know, how did you approach academics going into high school? Was this something that you said, hey, if I want to go to college, I need to get this, or this something that you really like focused in on?
You know, it's really funny. I was always a B student because B's, you know, were acceptable in my household. You know what I mean? You know, my brother was not a B student. And so I stayed out of the line of fire, man, as long as I brought B's in. And, man, in 10th grade, I had a teacher, man, that challenged me. She challenged me. She said that I couldn't get an A in her class. And I always been a competitor, man. She touched me in the right way. And, you know, I said, man, not only will I get an A in your class, I can get an A in all my classes if I want to. And, man, so in 10th and 11th grade, man, I got straight A's. Not only did I get all A's for that marking period, but I got all A's for 10th grade. I got all A's for 11th grade. I wasn't aware, to be honest with you, of what it would open up for me. You know what I mean? I was a prisoner in my own mind, a young 7'5" boy who was a pretty good football player, and I had an aspiration that football was going to be my horse out of town. And so 3.0 was perfect for that, right? You checking that box.
Right.
I didn't realize until I started getting straight A's, even what avenues that opened up for me. The letters in my mailbox changed, you know, Duke, Stanford, you know what I mean? The Ivies, the academies.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, man, like, you know, I had seen all that mail come in from my brother, right? But I hadn't seen any of them schools, you know?
Yeah.
And so I got motivated by it. And, you know, it was an awesome lesson. And that's just a sign that, man, that's why we all got to pour back into these kids, man. You never know what's going to stimulate them or push them in a direction. Man, this lady, Miss Gunner, man, she challenged me. She knew I was capable of more, and she touched the right button. And I went on to be a National Honor Society kid because of it. And I know for a fact that would not have happened had we not had that exchange and that challenge.
Definitely.
Like, I'm even learning something. I didn't know about the straight A's in 10th and 11th grade. As long as
Hey, notice that I said 10th and 11th because 12th grade.
We were floating.
at that point, yeah.
Man, after signing day, man, it got tough, man. It got tough.
We had senior skip day. We had senior picnics.
Yeah, that ADD kicked in, man. It was just tough.
Oh.
But it's an interesting thing, man. It just, you know, I to learn that lesson, man. I challenge my kids in that way, and my kids respond. They deliver A's. That's the standard. It's just funny sometimes when you raise the standards for young people, man. They'll meet them because that's what they do. They adapt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As you mentioned, the boys and especially the age bracket that they're in now, and you know, who knows what's going to happen collegiately with campus, you know, opening up or not. But I mean, a lot of young men, particularly Black young men, are dealing with a lot. You know, you talk about the academics. You know, there's just a lot of different challenges that are happening right now. I mean, is there anything you could share with us? Maybe what you share with your boys or perspective for some of the young men that are out there, you know, that haven't been able to work out like they normally, you know, would. School ended early. I mean, there's just a lot of things I think mentally and psychologically that are all dealing with. I mean, we're all dealing with something, you know, that hasn't happened in 100 years, but some things or perspective that you can share with some of the young men out there.
You know, the thing about it and the conversations I've been having with my sons, man, is the reality is in the middle of all of this, man, they have a desire to act. You know, they want to do something. And I get that. I can relate to that. And the thing that I tell them and the thing that I'll tell my football team, the thing that I'll tell any young person, man, I can support the desire to act. And I will support that. All that I ask my sons is whatever it is that they do, they do so thoughtfully and they do so with class. And so whatever actions they choose to take because of present circumstance, whatever they feel driven to do because of the pandemic, because of the social unrest or what have you, or just life in general, man, being a young guy and having to make decisions and live and determine what type of life you want to live. Man, the choices are yours. And I can support that, provided they're done so thoughtfully and done so with class. I think that's all we can ask of any man or any young lady. And so that's the way I challenge my guys. That's the way I challenge my sons in general, but specifically in times like this, because we all want to react, and that's action without thought, or we all want to react or act emotionally. And emotions are good if properly driven. For me, it's about being productive in spite of anything that we face. And so being thoughtful about what we do and how we do it and what we say and how we say it is a critical component of that. I can support that, and I'll always support that regardless of whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Tell us more about, man, your high school days playing football at Denby and for Coach Boone, who was a great man, who saved a lot of young men because everybody thought, you know, the Denby guys were a little different, but they had some guys, some unique guys up in Denby too that you had to help out. And Coach Boone was a great man. Tell us about your experience playing high school football. Like, tell us some of your most memorable games, memorable plays, who you scored on. I know. I think you guys may have beat Hampton one year.
Here we go. I
don't know.
Every year.
I don't know.
Hey, I did whack Hampton my senior year.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay.
There it is.
Hey, but we were not surprised. We whacked them when I was in 10th grade on JV. We went undefeated and won the Peninsula District as JV guys in 10th grade. You know, so you know we didn't bow down to that mystique. But my junior year, man, they had Eric Hunter and guys like that. Man, it was tough to deal with.
Right.
But I'll tell you this, man. Being around as much ball as I've been around all my life, the things that I think about and the memories that I hold near and dear are not necessarily the moments that, everybody talks about when we come together. It's the things that you cherish if you got an intimate relationship with the game. You mentioned Coach Boone. Man, Coach Boone was an awesome guy. He was hard. He was fair. I had the pleasure of playing for him and John Quillen, right? I had Coach Boone in 9th and 10th grade, and then 11th and 12th grade, I had Coach Quillen. And so, man, I had the pleasure of playing for both men. But when you say Coach Boone, man, I smile because when you're a young guy, man, Coach Boone will call that JV team up to that varsity practice field and get your kickoff return team out there. Something, man, it was a scary thing to be a young guy at practice. At Denby High School in the mid to late 80s, man, we had some goons running around in that practice field. And if you were in 9th grade or 10th grade, man, that was scary, and it would be routine. It would be nothing for coach to call you up on a Thursday, for some goal line scrimmage or something. I'm like, man, we got a game on Saturday morning, coach.
Man. Hey, listen, and y'all had goons. You got Troy Gresham, Marcus Michael, Kevin Jones.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
What you do?
That was some ballers. It was some ballers.
For the short yardage scrimmage, man, Troy Gresham at fullback, right? Marcus Michael at tailback, right? I'm playing strong safety. We got an 8-man box, right? We stop them. We stop them. Coach say, run it again. I'm like, man, stop stopping them.
Yeah, right. Hey, man, I know.
Wow. It's those memories, man, of those moments in the guys. You mentioned, Marcus Michael, man. That's a DHS classic right there, man. Marcus was our guy. Marcus just. He set the swag standard for us. He taught us how to do it. He taught us how to move around Coliseum Mall when we came down to y'all neck of the woods.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We felt like when we was with Marcus, man, nothing bad was gonna happen to us.
He was well respected across the peninsula.
Listen, I remember meeting Kevin Jones when his son came to the camp, and up until that point, I did not like him. Right. Here's a guy that's a minister now, I think, and he's in a different world. I had them and I said, Kevin, look, no disrespect, you're a great guy. Because, we having a good time. So I said, man, I tell you in high school, I couldn't stand you, man. You were so good. You were so arrogant. He laughed. We had a good time.
Hey, man, them boys from Warwick Lions, man, they moved a certain kind of way, man. And they taught us all how to move a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
Good people, man. Isn't it funny?
You're right.
Isn't it funny as you move forward in life, man, that you could appreciate those stories? And like you mentioned, man, Kevin got a great ministry now, man, touching a lot of lives, man.
Yeah.
It's just them classic days, man. It's just young people being young.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So, as you know, we argue about the 757's got as good of football athletics as anybody in the country, Florida, Texas. You obviously evaluate a gazillion guys every year. Are there any attributes? Do you see any patterns in terms of 757 compared to any other region, or does it come down to a man based on how they growth? Because a lot of people in the 757, we've been talking about it, but you get to see some guys. You got some guys that you've evaluated and determine whether they can play the next level. What is your true assessment?
Hey, let me check this meat. I got a good answer for that.